Yeah, this is a huge comp change for Ghost. They're coming off of getting 13-0'd on this map in the upper bracket against Wadada. Losing that series is what brought them down here, and now they have found a complete shift, switching over to a double Sentinel composition, bringing out that Phoenix. And what I'm really curious is, how does this map play when you have this no-dive comp on the attacking side? It's going to be a super different style from what YFP is bringing with their own double dive composition, and I'm just excited to see what they've cooked up with very little time to turn this comp around.
Yeah, not just no dive, but also double Sentinel, the flashes, kind of on weird agents, right, with the Phoenix and the Vise to get things done. Ghost Gamings are going to be starting it off by working into this B space. There's a high camera with Corrupt hidden behind the box, and Corrupt's going to have to teleport out, but not before taking down half her health bar.
And you watch YFP on their defense, they are quick rotators. They are almost always getting ahead with that Yoru TPing over, with the Neon running about. And when you're playing this no-dive comp that doesn't actually have a lot of get up and go on the exec, I think they're going to have to take a lot of time on pulling these rotations, baiting out that Yoru gate crash. And they've done well to start, leaving a pretty open A site here.
Yeah, it's just Scary Shark playing back towards Pawn for some audio information. Although you can see YFP a little hesitant, maybe peeking into that mid space to find some information. They know it's not a split hit for the time being. And with all the time Ghost has sort of spent to get down here, YFP already have 3 players ready to respond to this side hit. And they're going to respond with Paranoia. This wall is going to stop them from getting out of the smoke too quickly. And a lot of utility spent to go nowhere for YFP.
And the power of this double Sensi comp on attack, Chrissy, is the post plants. Once they can get hunkered down, get the sensors up, get the thorns in position, it's really hard to break back through.
Yeah, right now Flash in Bunny B's hand, gonna send that over with a couple of players swinging. And right now Ghost are waiting for this mid lurk from Ariel to activate. A lot of stall used as YFP gear up 4 players back towards spawn. This smoke in a lot of trouble for them, and just a meat grinder of players. YFP can't do anything except to respond to that flank in mid, because Melia, all on her own, has absolutely no chance in this round. As I say that, 3 kills, but it is Ghost to finish it off.
And I love the way that Ghost play that post plant in the end. Full committing resources to stall the push on stairs. You see that YFP knew that they could not let their opponent get set up in the post plant. Tried to play a really quick flood retake, but once that gets dissuaded, instead, the entire force of Ghost Gaming is instead getting ahead of that utility towards spawn, winning out the fight there. These post plants are going to be the make or break in this half, and it's great to see Ghost starting better. Already, infinitely improved from the last time they played Sunset.
For sure. Especially, too, for Ghost, just getting this pistol round on the attack side when you're playing a comp that might struggle a little bit more. Good omen for them. This time it'll be that Paranoia scent, just a quick play into A. I mean, Bunny Bee has absolutely no fear in the world. More utility to follow it up. I like that combo between the Fade Prowlers, Phoenix Flashes, but it means there's nowhere for Oriental to go, and Ghost will have this A site once again.
And I'm going to want to see Bunny Bee running it down for the rest of this round. The biggest strength of the Phoenix is constantly getting that ult online. It's kind of crazy that in a world where pretty much every agent has been nerfed to have 8, 9 pip ultimates, Phoenix is still just down at 6, and it's great to see 4 Ghosts getting that online. That gives a real chance to winning this bonus.
Yeah, I'm curious now. You're in the position of YFP, obviously trying to get some picks on the way out of here, take some of those guns out and make the bonus worse, but you're seeing this comp that Ghost are running, right? Double Sentinel, you've got the Phoenix in the duelist slot. Like, how are YFP going to try and stop Ghost from getting on the site so easily?
I think the biggest thing is you want to be getting proactive with early fights. That's what this comp is so good at. And that doesn't mean like sending it every round with the Neon.
Right.
But I think they want to be taking space in A main, leaving one of those duelists up on a forward angle, ready to push back. Because they have a ton of stall once they get that space. Neon stuns, paranoias from the Omen, even if the Fade is there to help out as well. And just trying to put a lot of resources into either fighting A main or B main, and leaving this more passive setup for the Cypher on the other side. Because the other strength of their comp is the almost instantaneous rotates. If the Cypher can stall out for 10 seconds, Neon, Yoru are going to be there to help flood.
Well, YFP going to be playing for this forward A space. So there's a Phoenix ult on the other side. Bunny Bee again going for this quick play. This time the team not so close behind her. Waiting for maybe Zoriental to swing around this right side corner. Ghost just take the information that there's a few players over on this A side and then freeze into the round.
Not the worst outcome for Ghost. They are going to get control of A main here and maybe even grab another orb. As they fight into elbow, there's a double hold for YFP.
YFP not re-challenging that line. Instead, walking it back just a little bit. Yoru teleport is ready to bring Corrupt into the site early on. But Ghost might actually wait to activate here for Ariel to find something over on the B side. She's crept up there as Bunny B and the rest of the team do the same in towards elbow. Bunny B goes back into the flash, really trying to get around this corner in front of it. Scary Shark will trade things out 1-for-1 as YFP continue to bring members into this site. And Ghost are cut down where they stand.
And that's exactly the type of flutter retake I was looking for from YFP. You see, they get contact after playing pretty deep into sight. Instantly, Yoru is TPing in. That Yoru combined with Zoriental, they're both running into the site together and fully shutting down that push through the choke point before it can even begin. Remember, this is a comp with no dive for Ghost. They're going to really struggle to get out of these chokes if YFP is fast on the rotate.
Exactly, right? Because like I think you kind of need to be approaching a site from two different angles. Like you need that split. So A, it's wrapping around elbow and that street side. B site, you're probably going to want some mid space and to get into market. But if YFP geared up to fight for B main here, shut that down, it becomes a lot harder for Ghost to play the rounds.
Yeah, YFP will have a pretty solid fight here. Both these players able to get out quick though.
Yeah, Zoriental all the way up for the time being. But Ghost are here to fight right back in. Ariel's going to get that one, and the rest of the team not slowing things down at all. Good work out of Bunny B. Continuing to move on forward and upgrade into some of these rifles. Ghost Gaming have found themselves in a big advantage, up 2 players, and they're going to instantly seize this site. Sue waiting to get back in, but not going to find anything. YFP are just crumbling in this 4th round.
The character of this comp is so different from what Ghost Gaming was playing last time when they got 13-0'd in the upper bracket. There they were playing a Yoru comp with the Breach and the Gecko, basically what you used to see last year when Sunset was still in the pool. And their biggest mistake on attack side, I think, was just rushing. They were taking these fast hits almost every round. They were putting their Neon in positions where it was either get the kill and win the round or you die and there's no recourse, no one there to trade out. But now playing with this no-dive comp instead, it seems to me that they're focusing a lot more on how they are scaling for each piece of the site, right? Swinging together into main, waiting a second, then recomposing and fighting towards site. They're doing a lot better at segmenting out these site executes and actually being in position to support their teammates.
Because the thing is, right, if your spacing is bad at all when you try to get out into a site, you can kind of cheat spacing when you've got a Jet or a Neon and you're flying on in there, breaking crosshairs. When you're just jumping through a choke point, you've got to have your teammates behind you. So those micro pauses in the rounds, very important to scale cleanly into a site like you're talking about.
By the way, I also truly believe that Phoenix just has the best flashes in the game right now. It is so hard to turn those. And if you are actually scaling well and trading off of your Phoenix's space, that can actually be such a strong tool to take space, as we saw in that last round.
Yeah, especially when you're playing off those flashes yourself. They don't have the reach of the other agents, the KO and whatnot, but so good at just getting that close kill. And Sunset is a lot of these tight, close corridors combat angles. Bunny B actually just walking on into the site. Breaks the camera, is up here. Still holding on to 2 flashes. This is a different look, but Scary Shark is ready for it.
Where is everyone hiding?
YFP are just going to hold on to back side here. They're going to get full info in a second and a paranoia to fight forward.
Oh, that's a good Noia. Ghost stalled out here. Nightfall thrown out into backside. YFP not fully sure of what's going down. Ariel now jumping into the site. Brings in some reinforcement for Ghost. The spike has been planted, but there's no control over backside for Ghost. And Corrupt is teasing those angles on those left side. Ghost fell and completely back towards main. These trips give YFP so much information. They're onto this site so quickly, Mimi. And Ghost have fallen back, going for a reflank from Vanitas. All of a sudden, smokes go down. There's pressure onto the spike, but the spam comes through good. 1 kill already for Ghost, and now that rewrap is in here. And without the pressure on the spike, YFP could be in some trouble. They've got to fight forward, and through the smoke, it's not going to go well for them at all. Misu now with nowhere to go, crouched up and taken down as Ghost Gaming secure 4th round.
They win that round, but honestly, I don't love the way they play it. It looked like they were trying to go back into 2023, 2024, where it's just post-plant cringe, spam the spike. There is a lot more variance on that play now. Remember, you don't have pings. You don't have that ability to perfectly spam the spike every time. But it works out in this round. They get the planter off with the help of a lot of that Sentinel utility in the post-plant. But I think if they're trying to do that in a lot of rounds, it's going to get really scary, and that will not work out sometimes.
Well, it looks like YFP are down onto a bad buy here. 4 Sheriffs in hand, but finally taking some space up into mid. Ghost Gaming playing a slower round to try and see exactly where YFP are going to end up, but I think what we've seen from Ghost Gaming is 6 rounds that have all felt different so far. Even that last one contacting into the site. Now it's round 6 and the first time they're really putting any bodies into mid.
And they fully push YFP away. They stick to this stack over on the A side of the map. Ghost figures it out, and they've got a nice and open B site here, and I think it's going to be the same operation as a couple rounds before. Let Bunny B off the leash, get her an ultimate into this next round.
And maybe play a little bit more on site this time. They got away with it last round, I think, because they planted in the very corner there, so there's not so much room to be able to defuse the spike from.
And that is that new plant spot, right? Since the changes to the map, that is a little bit easier to be precise on the spam. You're only worrying about like 90 of the 360 degrees that you could be defusing from.
Yeah, you got to get your protractor out in the post plant and make sure you can actually land that spam without the ping ability.
There are teams that practice spam. It's real.
It's real. Well, Noya went past the wall. None of her teammates joined her, so she's going to be taken down. And,
don't open that door, buddy.
There's a lot of bodies behind that one. Not sure if Bunny B wants that as Corrupt finds the kill, but all things considered, YFP do not have the time to play this one out. They recover 1 rifle onto Corrupt, and the rest of the team is going to go down to the spike. Misu's going to go down to the spike, right, guys? Right?
Right.
Oh, no.
She has 1,400 credits.
It's a disaster.
So you're supposed to die there as a defender, because otherwise you don't get the full loss bonus. And
you get max 1,000 credits.
You have a stinger on a rifle round, Christy.
Yeah, so they're gonna hit that timeout button. They're gonna be like, probably should have died there.
And if you're coaching there, you're thinking, okay, how do I compose myself and not get angry about what I've just witnessed? Talk about the next round instead.
Also, like, everyone on the team is distracted because everyone is hyper-focused on, like, yelling, Misu, die to spike, die to spike.
Die.
You gotta get the team composed once again. Although I'm interested to see, Mimi, Melia has an operator in hand coming out of this timeout on the Cypher.
Yeah, with the way she's been playing it, it's surprising, too. Because she's been,
could get passed around.
Sure.
Right? We've got a timeout right now, but
sure. We'll see where that one ends up. I would imagine it makes a little bit more sense on Corrupt, but maybe they've got some kind of play. Corrupt does have the ultimate this round. I did want to bring up some trauma for you, though, because this Ghost Gaming squad, right? Before they were signed, I know your team, Teddy Tactics, who is playing in the Swiss stage of this one. You guys have a pretty good history with this team, right? How many times did you play Ghost predecessor?
I wouldn't say a good history. We just got.
Well, it was good for the team in the main event who's playing in this match.
They beat us 3 times in a row this year.
Yeah.
I was looking
at anything about the team from that to share?
No, they're just a frustrating team to play against, I'll be honest. Like, they're a team that, like, they feel beatable when you play a lot of these rounds, but they'll do crazy stuff like this and just run you down sometimes. Like, this is the 3rd time we've seen Ghost with Bunny B leading the charge, just full sprinting on the Phoenix, getting that opener and buying a free site for the squad.
And I was lauding them for playing very different, for not just running it down like they were the last time I watched them. But they do it this round, works well, and they're playing another full off-site post plant. It is going to come down to the spam. They do have an ultimate in the post on the deadlock, though, to at least get 1 guaranteed player off the spike.
I suppose, but YFP, they're in a bad spot, especially as Bunny B gets back into the site. Misu finds the kill with the stinger. That should have been a weakness. We're back into that spam battle off a site.
1 enemy remaining.
Fade Eye is dealt with. The spam comes through again. Ghost are just winning out these plants from main. not a care in the world for them.
And Chrissy, I am gripping the arms of my armchair right now and quaking that they are winning every round. Post plant full offside on B, but it's working for them. So I'm angry in my armchair, and they're up 6-1. So that's all right for them. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Melia saves the op, but again, took a shot with that, so Ghost Gaming, they're aware that the op has been bought.
I do like this change of pace, though. You get last time they had the Phoenix ult, they showed heavy presence into A main and then like full reset into a super slow round. This time they just full send it on the side. That's a big round to win as well. YFP are broken this one. They don't even really have enough to force up around the operator. So it comes down to these 3 players on lesser guns to try and win an A main.
TP up with the flash, but Bunny Bee's in front of that play. Easy kill for her, and the rest of Ghost Gaming to come on behind that one. Looks like YFP want to take this fight once again, trying to get in front of the steel guard, and then they manage it for a couple of kills. But Ghost have already wrapped around, thrown down that deadlock wall, and this makes playing that A post so simple.
I like that Bunny Bee has been using her Phoenix wall a lot in the post plans through these walls to segment the Omen. You can only do that since those Phoenix changes that let it actually get placed through terrain similar to Harbor. Just a little thing, but I think this agent does have more utility than people give Phoenix credit for.
It can be nice, just the added stall of the molly on the choke point too, after you've gotten into a site to help your teammates scale on forward.
Melia, you want to save that off, right?
Shots on the way out. Yeah, I feel like Melia wants to get out of this one. And she will, once again trying to save that. But it feels hard for Melia to find a ton of value with that gun the way that Ghost have been playing, because they've been playing such a pack mentality that even if they are going into Melia's site, you imagine it's probably a 1-for-1 trade, because Ghost spacing has been pretty good for the most part too.
Yeah, the only place I think it could get value maybe is like taking a peek into mid at like a minute on the clock. They've been sending late lurks over there in quite a few rounds, but even that's not like super consistent because like you mentioned, those last 2 rounds were just straight up full 5 hits. So it's going to be tough to see. Maybe you switch it over to Corrupt. Corrupt has a better chance of like fighting into main, actually TPing out after getting a kill.
I was going to say I might like a more active look because with the Cypher you have to be in your cam half the time anyways, so you can't always just be posted up on a forward angle. You're usually playing those more passive lines. But we'll see what exactly YFP want to do here.
When she's still on B, it's the same round again, Fritzy.
Yeah, Paranoia ready this time around for YFP, though. That is going to connect on Bunny Bee, but she doesn't care. Corrupt's going to take her down. No problem as YFP finally win out forward in this fight. 1 for 2 to kick it off, and not giving up that space yet.
And that's the util I was talking about earlier that can be so good for these main fights. Just constant reflashes to get back on the line. You have 2 cats, you have an Omen Paranoia. All those tools are super strong for bullying that space. But Ariel, in mid, catches such a big pick, and now this round is back to a 3-on-3. There's a rather open B site, and Ghost is calling into it.
Kind of a cringe tripwire here for Melia to find a shot. That's going to connect, reposting onto the forward line and calling in the rotate from Scary Shark too. Ultimate's traded out on site as the kidnap comes down. Vanitas will be able to take down that player too. So it evens out 2-on-2. And yet, it's hard for Ghost to actually break out of this main choke point, and with those blood trails on the ground, YFP know exactly where Vanitas is going to be. Easy adjust for Scary Shark. And in a 1-on-1, Misu will pull it through and get YFP their second round of the half.
Yeah, a very nice one there that they managed to close out. And they've tried that A main fight in quite a few of these rounds. But thus far, I've almost always been pushed back. Bunny Bee's been getting the opener. There, it goes just a bit better. I liked the way they were layering the utility. Got that man advantage. And then just had some great fundamentals towards the end to close this one out. So, finally, at least 1 round piece together. But my question is still around what they want to do with this op. Because it's still on the Cypher. It's still positioned towards B. And they're sending kind of a mid-fight look here. Fast, actually, with the Neon.
Oh yeah, getting it active. Zoriental finds the first of the game for her, and not going to slow down, trying to recover the rifle as well before dipping away. Maybe looking for a pinch back in towards Market. Bunny Bee firing some shots back, and YFP are finally, I was going to say fall back, but actually Zoriental has stayed there. Corrupt is assisting from top mid, and they get away with murder down straight mid.
This is great. They're playing to the strengths of the composition now, getting really active on the fights these last 2 rounds, and get an opportunity to play a 5v3. Good play through the smoke, though. Bunny has a chance to even this round. That's one. Second one is Misu, tucked around the corner, and Bunny B can't quite wrangle the shots in time. It comes down to the trade as Vanitas is now embedded up mid.
Last player standing.
Double swing, so Vanitas taken down, but even in a tough round, I love how Bunny B has been playing completely fearless in these rounds, especially once her team is down in players, stepping into mid, just absolutely takes the head off of YFP's op. So Kataris, what's she going to be able to find? 30 seconds left on the clock. It's a quick sprint over into the A site. YFP have given her that. Kataris is a little bit paranoid that players could have wrapped back in towards A main.
Yeah, she really has no information here, doesn't have that paranoia. For YFP, just a matter of grouping up, triple swinging, especially now that they know her position.
Jumping around like that. Hold on. Kataris timing through the smoke. 2 kills, but not enough to win the round. That'll be YFP again.
Got scary there right at the very end for Kataris to nearly win that one on out. But YFP keep things up and show a round where they react quite nicely to the aggression into mid, set up a triple swing there, and managed to take another round on through here. I'm happy to see Scary Shark starting to get some impact. Dedes talked about her a little bit. Obviously, a player that has a lot of hype around her since that run with EG that, well, it wasn't much of a run, but since at least getting the opportunity to attend that international event with them, and has been kind of juggled around teams for a while now since coming back to North America, but it's always been a player to watch out for and have a lot of impact for her teams, no matter what role she's actually locking in, be it the duelist or now the smokes for YFP.
They even played some Initiator in the past as well. This round, though, Bunny B has access a 3rd ultimate on the half, and that's for Ghost has meant very quick rounds. And this one will be no different. Immediately into backside, actually saving her flashes, just facing every single line. Finally discovers the neon in the back.
Oh, good spam from Bunny as well. Melia was trying to prioritize getting that wall down. She's dealt with, and yet again, it's a full offsite post plant here.
This time, though, Scary Shark, you highlighted her on the flank herself. 1 kill, 2, they're just lining up for her. Now the paranoia is on the other side. Dimensional Drift for Corrupt fully clears away on the site, and they can pinch back into Ghost, again, trying to play back towards main. This round is getting chaotic. Smokes everywhere, and Kataris and Bunny be trying to fight their way out. Scary Shark has been able to find so much in this round and give Misu a chance. With the wall hack, Misu gets 2 and takes another. You'd imagine there's going to be time. YFP secure the round.
A little adjustment, but it works out wonderfully on the retake for YFP, sending a player late on that backstab, and I have to just laud how well Scary Shark played that. Swings in for the 2, and then is so patient, forces Ghost to go back and try and root her out before finally taking that second mark, swinging in with conjunction from those teammates in main, and setting Melia up for a position that she could win out with that haunt. This has been quite a resurgence for YFP. 3 rounds now won in a row, and they have a chance to finish this half within 2 from what started as such a rough game.
Which is going to be necessary going up against the double Senti. See how that plays out in a moment, but Ghost again have 5 players into B main. This time in front of the smoke is Corrupt. Vanitas takes out Zoriental in backside. And with that teleport removing YFP's sole anchor standing from the equation, once again, this B site belongs to Ghost, although Bunny B is thinking about getting in the smoke one more time. A couple players pushing in, but no one is clearing Nora. Scary Shark takes down 2. They have done exactly what YFP need to take yet another round. Working their way back into sight, sees the one in main. I mean, Scary Shark is an absolute beast right now. And the pinch keeps on coming forward. Miara takes one out. And the final grab will finish the round for Ghost. That one nearly slipped away, but they are going to take 8 in the first half.
Bunny B has been good on those forward pushes quite often here, but in this round ends up looking a little silly, doesn't clear the angle, and it's almost Scary Shark bringing that round home. But I think that is a critical one for Ghost to win out at the very end. They're up 8-4 now, and we get to look towards the second half. You mentioned it, where they're playing this double Sentinel composition. We've seen a lot of this with the Vice deadlock on Ascent this year, with teams trying that out, but at least I personally have not watched this composition on Sunset before. It's going to have a lot of similar strengths with having a lot of different defensive setups, with stacking util in different ways, but I'm just excited to see what setups they actually have ready, because for YFP, this is really going to be sight reading, figuring out how to deal with this double Sentinel utility.
Yeah, and also getting Corrupt's clone involved to try and break out some of this. Right now it's just going to be pandemonium in A main. And yet Ghost have gotten in front again. So Bunny B's fearless playstyle has not slowed down even on the defensive side, although YFP are reacting to cut back towards B through mid.
Not a lot of util actually watching market, and Ariel's already pushed all the way back. YFP have found a gap and they're already into the site.
Kataris smoke down on side to try and bunker it in, and Ghost just destroy this YFP squad in mid. All of a sudden things are brought back to even, but Melia still has to be able to get this spike and escape somehow. There's plenty of time to work with, and that group up from YFP is going to open up the A site. They've cut back towards B, now into A, and a 2-on-1 to try and see this round through.
And Ariel's already shown her hand, gets rid of that flash, and has to try and deal with this camera, work back in against 2.
Zoriental is quite low, although YFP have chosen to push up towards Pawn. And if they just keep going forward, that's going to give them so much information. They're going to know the exact pathing Ariel's taken. Spike is planted open for main. It's pretty decent for their position in Pawn. It only would be a problem if it was a full stick right now. Then they'd have to get going a little bit. The tap actually might force them to make some footsteps to make sure it's not being stuck on through. And even with footsteps, Zoriental able to take the pistol round, a much needed one for YFP.
Yeah, that is really big to keep YFP in this game all the way through. I like the way that they played around the map there. I think these early rounds is going to be really important. Just figuring out what the standard setups are when you're playing into this double Sentinel composition. And you saw here, putting a lot of pressure. B main to start, then going back into A, and then finally getting that lurk embedded up through mid and just kind of exploding the map. That's really tough to do when you're playing against one of these setups for the first time, when you're trying to find that little gap. They take the time, they figure it out, and now they stay in the game with this pistol round 1.
I like Melia trying to sneak underneath that one-way for a moment. Not even going to take the shot, though. So the rest of the team is going to send out that clone, and I expect this to be pretty standard for YFP, trying to find the Vise wall. Use the Yoru clone to bust that one down. First 2 rounds so far, it's been Vise and Deadlock playing opposite sides, and
hello.
Are we're just gonna let our teammate down like that?
Yep. Good night.
That's so sad.
Yeah, that's a gun picked up too, I think, at least. No, Ariel didn't get anything.
That's like the bystander effect. Like, you watch someone get bullied and you don't say anything. It's like, guys, like, your friend just got shot in front of you. Do something.
I don't know if that's what they were teaching in the, like, 4th grade anti-bullying curriculum.
I don't know. That's like Kelso's Choices or something, no?
Kelso's Choices?
You don't have Kelso's Choices in Wisconsin?
No, I think that's
someone in chat knows
California
Kelso's Choices. A little frog guy.
Little frog
guy.
guy.
Stand up to bullies or something. Hey, it's a whole thing. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Well, I feel like I'm watching the same round again because it's pressure towards B main and then a late walk.
My concern, Mimi, there's 25 seconds left.
It's
like,
fine. That's
you think it's fine? Bunny B has a shotgun over an elbow right now. There's deadlock stuns on the ground.
They're gonna walk right past this stun. They're gonna get the plant down. It's fine.
It's kind of fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine. It would stop being fine if for whatever reason we reloaded and died in elbow. It would stop being fine if Bunny B was able to upgrade to the Stinger. It would stop being fine if Bunny B kept finding more kills with a well-timed paranoia from her teammates. And it would certainly no longer be fine if we just full stuck this defuse on the eco.
Oh, it's a disaster. It is a disaster, and it is certainly not fine anymore. Oh my god, losing a player in main and then just sitting waiting for reaggression for a minute 20 seconds before kind of lazily clearing back into A late. And you see, when you have that low time, when you have that much pressure on, these players just not in positions to actually help each other out, and they get overwhelmed on the low buy. That hurts to watch again. Zoriental reloads at exactly the worst possible time.
It's just a disaster. And now
And
you
this
look
map,
at it, Zord.
like, might be cooked now. I'm not gonna lie.
It very well could be. Oh my word. Bunny Bee is a menace in the server today. Like, we're seeing kills frequently in the first, like, 3-4 seconds of the round for her. It has been so fun to watch.
That
Okay.
was a classic.
I mean, it's fine, Mimi. It's fine.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that again. we're not. Certainly, we won't be needing to do that again, right?
Yeah, they're too low. They're too low.
Right.
Yeah, my fear for YFP now is, I mean, things should have been like genuinely okay for them because they won the pistol and everything. But now you're dealing with, okay, losing round 2. That means that Bunny Bee on the super low cost ultimate has farmed that
Hold
up
on.
for round 16, which
Really
is going to
quick,
be
what
the
if we
big
got
swing.
a Thorns kill? That would make me really happy. That would make me bring so much joy
That would bring you
to my
joy.
heart.
Yeah. Something tells me it's going to happen on the way out.
One enemy remaining.
No.
There is no way out in hindsight, as Ariel's going to find 2 kills. But yeah, this is what I was talking about, Mimi. Now Bunny Bee has the ultimate. I don't think anyone on YFP is even close.
No.
Maybe
Oh,
Cypher.
Melia
we don't
Cypher
care about
World,
that.
of
Yeah,
course.
we don't care about that. But this is where Ghost Gaming can win a swing round here and just, it's lights out, right?
Yep. Yeah, if they win the rifle round, this map is over. Wrap it up, look ahead to the next one, and oh my god. These shots from Bunny Bee are just so disgusting. Bunny Bee has been a player that I think has been, like, just on the bubble as being, like, rated one of the best GC players for, like, a long time. You think back to, like, 2 years ago, playing on that exit roster that never really managed to achieve that much, but no matter how much your team struggles, Bunny Bee has always been incredible as an individual, as she'll be tested
Holy,
again.
we are flying into elbow. This time it's not Bunny Bee, but it's actually Miara with the 2K. YFP still trying to hunt her down, and she's trapped herself over into the corner. Now calling in a smoke for some assistance on the way out. And a teammate in there too. With this wall over by Street, it should be easy enough for Ghost to settle this round down and play around the deadlock utility.
Where is everyone? Where you are?
Get some info on the hat, but the rotate back into B is going to be such a long run. I don't think they can attempt it.
Yeah, I mean, now the wall has fallen down, but Prowler's going to see one player over there. Nice angle from Vanitas. Will fall back, but the crouch slows things down completely. We're getting back onto the line. I don't know about that. With Melia finding a couple of kills. The utility from Ghost has been excellent, but YFP have just kept fighting themselves out of tough situations. And they're not going to stop now.
Has to be a mistake towards spawn there. Puts Ariel in a 1v3 now. Planter's exposed, but
Very nice.
Shark has the defense ready to go. And yeah, that was a winning position for Ghost, but towards spawn, they hear the sound cue of getting that net and someone pulling it out. Swings alone. That's despite the fact that Kataris was right beside Vanitas with the paranoia ready to go. And that little mistake, combined with the player dying on site, lets that position slip away. This was a game we were talking about being won for Ghost if they had won that swing round, and now YFB is back within touching distance and finally starting to get their ults online.
Looks to me like YFP want to fight into this mid space early on. Smoke on the other side. Ghost Gaming, Bunny Bee is pushing through with the ultimate right inside of things. No one to actually break that triple. Look at that! Head taken off of Misu. That's the Nightfall out of the equation as well.
Looks like Kataris wants to take a timing in mid. Probably would be better not to. Just hold within the smoke and she'll think better of it. Backs away
Yeah.
and sets up that crossfire market instead.
It's a defensive smoke there that threatens that walkout for sure. And now Scary Shark in a bit of a tough spot. Players could definitely walk out on her. As finally this test comes on through, nicely cleared from Ariel. But the trade is back there from Corrupt. Looking for a little bit too much, and now YFP split into market, throw up that wall, can try and sneak back into the site. Only Vanitas to try and slow things down. And she's been able to make it out, throwing down the deadlock wall too. Has cut up these players from YFP. Zoriental's gonna stick the plant onto the spike. As Vanitas steps on forward, sees the jiggle. Holds her ground though, because there's a flank coming in from Bunny Bee on the other side. She has been lights out so far today, and no one is waiting for it. First kill opens up for her. And now as the steps keep coming through, Ghost just seemed to have full awareness in this post plant. Prowler blinds up Zoriental. Now the reload. It's all falling apart. Ghost Gaming take the round.
I don't think I've ever seen something like that before. Bunny B uses the, walks halfway up on the flank, uses the flame wall through the wall to break the tripwire, and then walks back through market. And no one is looking for a market flank because they hear the trip break on the flank and are looking there. Honestly, I never even considered that was an interaction that you could have using the flame wall to do that. But very cool from her, and overall, just a very nicely controlled retake from Ghost Gaming. It's the same stuff we were talking about being positive in the first half of just taking their time on all of these swings, having the right crossfires set up, and they decimate. But Chrissy, it's going to be another brawl in A main. We've seen these fights so many times already this half.
And a million ults for YFP too. They've got to win this round. Nightfall immediately sent out. Corrupt as well. Goes into the alternate reality with an ultimate back towards spawn from Scary Shark. I mean, Ghost Gaming are trying to fight for it, but there's two players behind enemy lines at the same time. Bunny B is only good for the one, but Miara is still holding on to that elbow space. Creeps on forward, sees the shoulder, doesn't get the kill, but the rest of YFP is on the hunt. Eyes turn towards Vanitas on site, just ratting it out inside of the smoke. As everything is traded back and forth, I mean, it is just pandemonium. But as the wall comes down, YFP have once again been stunted in this acceleration.
Last player standing. The timing for Vanitas, that could have been the kill to lock up this round. Instead, it's Kataris putting a clutch, but finds a timing past the wall. Knows these players are rotating back towards B.
Just a crazy round. I mean, count it up. 4 ultimates spent from YFP. I don't actually know if there was one on the side of Ghost, but YFP sent everything into winning this round. And do some economic damage to Ghost Gaming here as well. But Kataris has the opportunity. Nothing to watch the flank. Creeping back in, a double swing to try and spot that one. But YFP are tucked in a tough position. Nowhere really for them to go. Kataris taking these fights, but a double swing gets the job done for YFP.
Ghost Gaming there. That was a round that they didn't honestly have to put that much into. It was YFP who used everything they had in the tank on that fight over towards A, and thankfully for them, actually managed to pull it off. The difference of that round, though, we've seen a lot of those with the massive opening brawl ending into like a 2-on-2, a 3-on-3, something like that, where they get full stelled out. This time, though, I think they play it a lot better together. Work back in towards that B side of the map, set up a nice post plant, and actually manage to win out on one of these late round 2v2s.
Yeah, early aggro piece from Ghost. They didn't buy anything, just the judge for Bunny B. Although I like seeing those ideas with like the crouch nade through the window out of the deadlock. YFP are doing a good job responding to this aggression though, which looks a little bit silly, people running around with their knives out. YFP gonna just mop up the floor with Ghost here.
Yeah, easy peasy. Went out on that fight. Last player standing is Vanitas, back towards mid. And I think she's about to get overwhelmed here as well.
Okay. Nice tracking on the sliding neon. But now YFP are in a position where, okay, it's touching distance now. 3 rounds separating them away from Ghost. Ghost are going to have a buy in this one. They're also going to have a couple of key ultimates. But Misu, after just using the Nightfall 2 rounds ago, Mimi, is only one off that herself.
Indeed. So I honestly would like to see YFP go for another one of these slower rounds. Just take some space in main early, try and embed a lurk up mid. I think they tried to force it a little too much in some of the early rounds and got predictable with forcing that lurk every time. But if they just do those same steps and instead are just like grouping into a late A hit, something like that, I think that overall idea can do them a lot better. Ensure that Ghost isn't going for any of these crazy fast plays. Because when they're not pushing, they've shown themselves really willing to use tools like that deadlock wall pretty early on. That wall's going to be off the table in like 15 seconds, and that's one of the biggest pieces of utility Ghost had already gone, just by threatening a little pressure in A main.
And YFP can kind of guess off of that. Well, if you're throwing the deadlock wall forward, you probably don't have your duelist, you probably don't have, a lot of your power playing behind it. It's the double senti towards A. It's Ghost getting aggressive into B main, so if YFP want to step back into the B space, you better believe they're going to have an idea there could be players here.
But there's a sneaky crossfire. Kataris in the corner. Bunny B has a great bait for this. Flash around the corner. Kataris still not showing. Finally the push comes through, and it's successful.
Oh, no.
Jeanette too.
It's just a disaster. YFP losing 2 members, have to accelerate now into the double senti setup. Zoriental stunning herself. It's going from bad to worse. Best case situation would be to find a little bit of a kill here. We're in front of the stun. That is beautiful. Zoriental with 2 now. The ultimate meaning nothing brings things down into a 3-on-3.
If they win this round, it is all Zoriental. She's done a lot to get this post plant, but it is still a 3-on-3, and these are the rounds that Ghost have been winning.
And with the spike plant, Misu has gotten access into the Nightfall once again.
Face your fear.
Right now, YFP take their time, but the Nightfall tags up 3 players. Every single member is spotted out. Bunny B just 1-for-1, brings things down into a clutch. Kataris versus Melia. Melia playing with the information of the neural theft and not even taking her time with it. She wants to get involved. She wants to get active. That is nasty from YFP's Senti. Good play to get another and bring things to 2.
Whew. The pop and swing in the 1v1 to win the round is some devious work there from Melia. This went so wrong for YFP, losing those 2 players in B main, the Omen TPing out into the open, but all thanks to Melia's incredible shot at the end there, and of course, Zoriental on the entry. They managed to win that despite hitting into a basically fully stacked site with Sentinel Util.
Down 2 players as well. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. And that's going to bring Ghost Gaming into calling their first timeout of the match. Remember, this is a team that was leading 8-4 at the half. This is a team that won round 2 after losing Pistol in the second half as well. But they've been forced onto a couple of bad buys here. And Mimi, it's going to be another going into the next.
And I want to put this game back in context for Ghosts, because the last time they played this map, they literally got 13-0'd. They were playing a completely different comp then. They have never played this comp before, not even a variant with Double Sentinel, not even a variant with Phoenix. This is all brand new for Ghost, and they are already showing us a great implementation of this composition on their first go-around. And that's all well and good, but this was still the only map they won in the last series they played against YFP. They lost that series 1-2. So suffice it to say, closing out here is a necessity. You cannot let this map slip away to YFP, or you head to Ascent, one of their strongest maps, and you're probably starting to look down the barrel of elimination.
Cutting through.
Yeah, you're setting a very worrying scene for Ghost if this were to slip away from them. And this round, hard to have a lot of faith either, right? They've got Sheriffs, they've got light armors on a couple of players. Melia even has the Outlaw here to see if there's going to be any mid-aggression. You better believe if Ghosts step out into this space, she is going to be knocking them down. This is a player that was buying the op on the Cypher on the defensive side of things, so very comfortable with those scoped weapons.
YFP's early round conditioning of these pretty consistent A defaults where they're sending 3 players there at the beginning of every round means that Ghost Gaming is almost always throwing the net there start of round. YFP can then break that. So for these last few rounds, they've just managed to get rid of that tool, default around the map, and not have to worry about the most troublesome stall tool in the server late round.
Looks like contact walk up into mid. Nice shot out of Corrupt. Right now, YFP could still choose whether to go back into B. Flash is hitting a lot of players, though. Vanitas gets a few kills. Ghost have managed beautifully in this position. The spike's still out in the open as well. Melia would have to pull off some kind of a miracle to get that and get out safely. Right now, she's just dancing inside of her smokes. I mean, what is going on?
The knife!
The knives! Everyone's got a knife out. And somehow, YFP have picked up the spike because Misu comes through A to help her teammate out. And even with 10 seconds left, YFP plant this spike.
Spike planted.
Imagine she dies to the trip. Funniest outcome, 5 HP. Okay. Not happening today. That was a silly, silly round.
It's always the ecos too, right, Mimi? That almost turns into a win somehow for a Ghost, but they're gonna say, hey, great work. We got almost everything we could possibly ask for in that situation.
Great round, no notes. Was that a Sheriff collateral? No, I think just through the box. Just watching the... I don't
Yeah,
know.
is that... I think we were watching different things.
Yeah?
My game doesn't have music.
Benny Hill? that what that is?
Oh, yeah, the little, like,
That's what I was
circus
going
music.
for. Yeah.
That's what you were going for.
Silly
No,
goose
I
music.
thought...
But we gotta lock in, because this is a sensible round, a serious round that
Sure.
could make or break this map, and this time, they don't use the wall in A main. Instead, just take it with one flash on Bunny Bee and get her one away from the ultimate.
But it does open up mid. This time YFP have put down a Omen Smoke on the right side of mid. Throw a Prowler on left. They know that Ghost are playing with very limited information. Ghost actually called back 4 players to respond if this was going to be a deep mid play from YFP, but YFP have really mixed it up these last few rounds and are taking things slow.
Yeah, Bunny Bee just holding super far forward in A main, completely containing that space.
Dropping spike.
Saving that wall for later means that they're going to have a lot more info on the A side of the map.
Now the thing is, if Bunny Bee is able to find something here, it boxes YFP in over onto B. Nice shot out of Misu. Actually forces more players to go back into the A side. And the fact that it's a Fade getting those kills, Ghost might actually think there's more bodies behind Misu on that lurk than there actually are.
And I think only the Cypher has shown over here towards
30
B. So yeah,
seconds left.
this is pulling rotates already. You see that Vi's leaning back in, but they're actually calling back into Misu. Instead, this could go so wrong because there's still 2 sonic sensors on this site and still 2 players holding as hard anchors.
And only 15 seconds left. I'm looking at Corrupt trying to cut back in through top mid because ultimates are coming in. 2 players are locking it down. Miara finds the first kill, but still there's Vanitas in backside. 4 seconds left.
No time.
It's all over. It's all over. Ghost just win the round. YFP overthink it and put Ghost up to map point.
That is such a tragedy. They call the round to perfection, deal with the wall, punish Bunny Bee on what honestly was a pretty big mistake, walking up and losing her life that early into the round. But then they overcooked the call here. They either need to, off getting that kill, instantly commit to the A rotate, or let that fake come to fruition and late go back into B. They call it one too many rotates and lose the round because of it.
What does that mean here? Well, it means Zoriental is on a Sheriff. Ghost getting active up into mid. Misu trading out headshots through the wall. But Bunny Bee is going to be forced to come back and snap back to the feather in mid. IFP might want to fight back into that. Bunny Bee doesn't have enough time to secure that kill and is still out there in the open. Looks like Ghosts are going to pull back, and YFP don't want to overcommit in. They know how much is riding on this round.
Obviously, YFP would have wanted to get the kill on that Phoenix in mid, but getting the ult out, not losing a member, it's not the worst outcome for them. They still have gained this space controlling mid, and now it's a priority of going back into A now that that wall has fallen and trying to find something over on that side of the map.
Yeah, maybe pick up an ult orb from Misu.
Knife
Hold
out.
on, this walk up. 1 for 1 means no smokes on the exec from YFP. Guys actually go over towards Melia right now. Who's testing some space into Marco while the rest of the team speeds up into A. Every single round, Vanitas has been playing on backside here. This time it's no different, and once again, she is lining them up. Ultimate sent out, grabs up one, Corrupt taken down low. And Vanitas is just going to take her time, wait for this player to fall down. It is Ghost Gaming all the way here with the spike left out on the site. Melia's lurk is going to be nowhere in time as the clock continues to go down. 15 seconds, and this map, just a forgotten dream from YFP. Ghost Gaming aren't going to give her a fight. I don't even know if she can get to the spike fast enough to plant it. It is over. Map 1 goes the way of Ghost.
What a map from them. They got 13-0'd the last time they played on Sunset. They debut a completely new comp.